Hey everyone! My name is Katy, and thank you for joining me for another Animal Crossing video. Today, me and my villagers, apparently, are all ready to get this dang island a little bit closer to being completed. I really just have my beaches and then a bunch of random little filler areas to complete. So today I'm going to bring you 5 new ideas for how I filled in those awkward filler areas. We have a lot to do today, so let's get started. So the first area that we are working on is this small connector between my entrance and resident services. I knew I wanted this to be a little park with a diagonal path. So to do that, I started by laying down that connecting path. I'm using the dirt pathing, kind of my secondary pathing by column crossing to do this. And I really just make a straight diagonal line, I guess, connecting the 2 roads. This was pretty simple to figure out, but I always find it tricky to do pathing right behind a cliff, which I had to do here and in a lot of today's builds, so that always adds a little bit of difficulty to the whole experience. Once I finished that initial dirt pathing, I'm adding a little green space area for the park. It's going to be a very, very small little park here. And once that is looking how I want it to, I'm adding a bunch of pink items. I really love some of these items. This park bench with that heart customization I think looks so cute, and I don't think I've used it before on this island. And then also the pink fence. And of course I had to use the pink elephant slide and then the pink pony, as well as the zebra to add a little bit of contrast. But that pink pony is one of my favorite items in the game that I literally never use. So again, I was just really pumped to have an opportunity to use it here. And then I had to use another favorite item of mine, the cherry blossom picnic, that takes up a lot of space and I just think it looks so cute. So I always love any opportunity to use that, as well as a cute little gyroid here hanging out at the park. And I really wanted to make this an interactive area to walk through, so I added a couple of cherry blossom petal piles, as well as one of the Festival confetti machines, because they're just so much fun to walk through. And of course there is a pink one, so I added that here. And I'm finishing off just with some more code, some fencing, and some flowers. And I ran back and forth down the diagonal path so many times while building this, just to make sure that it really packed a punch in such a small little area that is very useful for getting from my entrance to my resident services. And I absolutely love how it turned out. I just think it's so cute. It's a mini little park, and I just really, really like it. So this was the first build of the video. Let's move on to the next. So the second area we are working on is directly behind my previous video's build, which was a fishing district natural area place. And this is where my secret beach is and a bunch of open space that I wanted to keep pretty natural, but of course it still needs to be filled in, otherwise a part of my brain says it's unfinished. So my secret beach, I knew that I wanted it to be a little beach movie area. I don't know, a beach picnic, I guess, with a movie theater. What the heck would you call that? I don't really know. Is there a word for that? Maybe. But ultimately, I just put down a rug pattern and, of course, the projector screen, a few places to sit, and a bunch of snacks, including the popcorn and like soft drink item. And then I lit it up using some mom's candles here on rocks, and I feel like the rocks look really good on the beach next to the rocks that are already surrounding the beach, if that makes sense. I really like how that looks, and I think this just turned out so cute. And then I had to connect that little beach to the rest of this empty area. So I'm starting with doing my pathing as always. I'm connecting with fragmented pathing to the, again, path from my previous video that went in front of the two houses in the little neighborhood and went to the little fishing pond. And then I knew that I wanted this to, again, look pretty natural. So one way I like to do that is by doing waterscaping. Now, I'm not the best at waterscaping. I do find it quite challenging, but it is a great way to take up space, especially if you get it to look really natural, like it's just part of this forest here. And that is what I was trying to do. I'm using these waterfall features and adding a few little solo islands within the little lake itself, and it also connects to the fishing lake that is right to the left of this area. I started filling in the space with some trees and a few more campy, I guess, kind of items. Not campy like kitschy, but like for camping. I imagined this would just be a nice natural place to hang out, especially because of the fishing pond next door. So I went with that vibe for all of the items, and I filled in a lot of space using trees, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's so easy and they're so tall, so I really like doing that. I'm also adding the bamboo trees in to give some contrast so it's not just all pink. I did want it to have that green of the bamboo trees as well. And then I'm just adding in some more codes, some flowers, and a few other items to round out the area. And Kyle just sat there chilling, watching that waterfall. I thought that was so cute. This is right next to his house, so I like that he was keeping an eye on me, supervising me, I guess. And then down here, I'm adding a little grass patch that will go under one of the kids' tents. Again, just making it look like this is a place where you can come and camp. I'm using some bamboo items to tie in the bamboo trees, as well as some of the mossy stone items to give that more, like this is just a natural place that hasn't really been touched, and we're just chilling here, preserving what we found, but also enjoying it vibe, I guess. And I just love those mossy stone items, and I haven't used them in a while, but I used to use them on this island all the time, so I feel like it was a good way to connect the early builds of this island with now some of the last builds. And I'm finishing up with just more codes and flowers and just a few final items before I am all done. So this is what we ended up with. I think it looks really cute. I think it filled in the space really well. We have vertical height, we have a lot of different items, there's movement, and of course the TV projector is just, it's so cute. I love sitting here, and I was trying to catch some different shows, but it just kept playing tennis, which was fine, whatever. onto our third build. We are working on this larger green space right in front of my museum castle build that I did. We are right next to a river and surrounded by my beach. So what I decided to do here was a wedding ceremony area. The first build I did on this island was a Valentine's Day neighborhood for Chevra and Nan, and I like to think that this is where they will get married on the island. So it's all set up and ready for them, and of course it's all pink. So I am just getting to work here, laying down the seating plan. It's very symmetrical and honestly quite simple. Then I'm working on that center path, just using again that natural wildflower path. I didn't want anything too stark here because I still wanted to have that natural vibe of the whole island. And once I had the seating how I wanted it, I started decorating with other items, including flowers, candles, and just basically every single one of the wedding items in the pink variant. I also added the nuptial bell, which is one of my favorite items. I know I say that about a lot of items, but I really love this one. I think it's so classy. I love the colors, and it's really tall and takes up space, which I love. And of course we had to have a wedding cake, so I did add a head table with the wedding cake. It looks delicious. I really love that pink wedding cake. So I knew I had to add that here. And again, I wanted to make this fun to walk through, and the main way I do that on this island is add the cherry blossom petal piles. So I did add 2 of those down the center aisle. Just kidding, I added 3 of those down the center aisle. And then I'm just finishing off with some final codes and flowers to round out the area. And overall, I just think this looks so cute. It makes sense to be right in front of the castle. It would be a very pretty area to get married right in front of that river. And yeah, I thought it was a good idea for this space. So let's move on to the next one. We are right across the river on this narrow little strip of land right before my beach. And this one is super awkward. I really kind of struggled with what to do, but the beach right in front of this, I'm planning on, spoilers, I'm planning on it being like a flower shop. So I wanted to turn this into like a utility shed area for the flower shop, but of course in a cutesy pink way. So I just used 2 storefronts and then one of those curtain partitions to make a fake shed, and I love that curtain partition. It looks so cute like that. And I really had to fiddle with things a lot because of how narrow and tight this area was. I added honestly a lot of kind of random items, some storage-like items, like the wooden box and the stacked crates. I have a little place to sit with a log bench, but otherwise it's kind of random. I was just using a lot of items that I like and wanted to use, so yeah, I didn't really care if it didn't make sense. Again, this is such a small, awkward area that I wasn't too worried about it. And I used some custom codes and some flowers to fill in the empty space. Of course, I had to take everything down to put in those empty codes, but that's Animal Crossing. That's like 50% of my gameplay. So once I did that and I got all of my furniture put back in place, I added a cute little bunny statue. Again, one of my favorite items. So I think this turned out really cute. I love the dropped flower right in front. That's such a fun little detail. But this was not the most awkward area that I decorated in this video. Actually, the next and final build here definitely was the most awkward to work on. So let's get started on that final build. Okay, so the final build is this super long, narrow, horizontal area that is right in front of my shopping district, but right behind a really tall cliff. And decorating behind cliffs drives me a little bit bonkers, but I knew I had to tackle this, and my idea was to do a sculpture garden walk thing. And I already have so much lag over here with all the pathing and items, I thought, why not just add to the lag? So I have a lot more pathing in this area to match all of the land around it. And I started out by just mapping out the path with the party lights arches and then enclosing the space like a sculpture garden would be with the rope partitions, just to get an idea of how many items I needed, frankly, but then also how the pathing should look and should lay. I did add some flowers to break up the white fencing and the monotony of that, and I really like how that looked. Because of how the space is laid out, the left side of the sculpture garden is a lot longer than the right side, which was fine. But all of my villagers wanted to talk to me on this day, and I was living for it. Honestly, I was having a lot of fun this day, and everybody was just hanging out, and that always makes me so happy to build. Especially when I lack motivation to build a lot in the game, I do like having my villagers hang out with me. So once I have all of the furniture laid down to map out the area, I get started on the actual pathing. I kept it very simple, just a straight across horizontal path and then a vertical path. No twisty-turvies or naturalness really here. Because we're behind the cliff, it's already kind of hard to see. So I didn't want anyone having trouble navigating the area, so that's why I kept it super straight. It also was a good way to then display the sculptures. Excuse me, I'm kind of losing my voice, my goodness. But it was a good way to display the sculptures and give each of them their own moment, so you could also look at them. And I really love the sculptures. I always kind of forget to use them, so it was nice to have a dedicated place for them. So once I was done laying out the main dirt pathing, I was like, why not just add more lag and more path? So I did just that and added a nice green flower bed, I guess, for these sculptures to sit on. And I do think this looks really nice, way nicer than if I just put them on the regular ground. This makes them, I feel, look a little bit more special, and I wanted this to be a bit more elegant and special and more classy, I guess, on my island, which is full of, kind of kidcore elements and just everything pink in the game. I knew that I wanted the Valiant statue to frame the entrance of the sculpture garden because it's so epic and the wings look so cool, and I think it's my favorite sculpture in the game. And then I also added in cherry blossom branches in kind of the dead space where a whole sculpture wouldn't fit, but I still wanted something to be there. And then I'm just adding more statues and picking kind of my favorite ones. I wanted them all to be that light marble color, so I stuck with all of those ones. I didn't add any of the blue or black ones in here. And then on the right side, I didn't have that much room, so I just added in the Leaning Tower of Pisa next to the Valiant statue, and I think that looks actually really nice. It's a really good size for that little space. And then I was just messing around with how I wanted the statues to be laid out and fitting in as many as I could. And I added another one of those nuptial bells right in the center there, as well as, of course, some cherry blossom petal piles, because this is an area that my villagers really love walking through. I see them in here all the time, so having those petal piles to walk through is always so fun. And then on the street, I just added a car and a little reading area, as well as strawberry milk. And I really love how this turned out. It was definitely awkward to figure out being right behind the cliff and just being so skinny and horizontal, but I really like how it looks. It's quite different from other areas on the island, and I really like that about it. Like I said, I see my villagers walking through here all the time, which always makes me super happy, and I'm really glad I finally tackled this area. So those were 5 ideas that I had to fill in space on my island in an attempt to hopefully finish this dang island soon. I hope that you liked this one. If you did, be sure to click that like button below. And if you'd like to see more from me, I am hoping to continue to post new videos because I have inspiration to do so. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I hope that you and yours are staying safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you again next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.